My Singing Monsters is a gigantic game, with a huge amount of things to do, always releasing new islands, new features, and lots of monsters. But of course, there are some things that are simply impossible to get or super difficult to accomplish in the game, and in today's video, we're going to look at the hardest things to do in My Singing Monsters. Things that can be so hard that you'll need to spend hours playing to achieve them, while others could take you years to complete, making them the hardest challenges in the game. The first thing is definitely the most obvious one in this video, and for sure the most time consuming thing in the entire game, reaching level 100. That's right guys, hitting the max level in My Singing Monsters is without a doubt one of the hardest things in the game. If you don't grind for years, you'll never reach that level. Back in the day, the max level was 75, which was already tough to get to, but after the update that increased it to 100, it became even more impossible. Well, not impossible, but definitely super difficult. You'll need years of playing unless you're a crazy player who uses 1,000 strategies and plays all day long. But yeah, farming all 2 billion XP required for each level after 75 is definitely one of the hardest tasks in the entire game, and it's rare to see anyone at that level. Something that, for me, is one of the hardest things in My Singing Monsters and might divide opinions is composing a song on Composer Island. Honestly, I think making a good song there is one of the hardest things in the game. And I'm not talking about just throwing sounds together. I mean a really well done song. Whether it's recreating one of the official islands or even a real life song, completing a full track on Composer Island is really tough because your biggest challenge is creating the entire song from scratch, placing each monster to perform its sound. But in the end, it's worth it because the results can be amazing. Another thing that used to be hard already but got even harder is activating the Celestials. For me, Celestials have always been one of the hardest things in the game since you could only start doing it once you were pretty advanced. Not only did you have to complete a huge inventory with tons of required eggs, but you also had to buy them with diamonds. I say had to, because now it's changing, they'll cost keys instead. But still, both resources are hard to collect. Just activating their first form is already hard, but what really made it worse was the arrival of adult Celestials. Now, besides buying the Celestial and activating it before the timer runs out, you also have to wait for that specific Celestial's month to evolve it, completing another huge inventory that even includes rares and seasonals, and you can't even send the seasonals from Seasonal Shanty. You have to get them from their event islands. For me, these monsters are among the hardest of all. Staying on the topic of evolving monsters, another feature in My Singing Monsters that feels super unfair and drains tons of resources is the crucible. Yep, on Amber Island, the crucible makes it incredibly annoying to get rare and especially epic monsters. Rares are manageable, but when you go after epics, good luck. You'll waste a ton of relics and have to keep trying for days, because not only does it cost so much, but the wait time is also long. You usually have to wait almost a whole day before your next attempt. So for me, this feature is one of the most annoying and hardest challenges in the game. And of course, I can't forget to talk about the Wubbox. This monster is already tough to get on several islands, but on some islands it becomes almost impossible. On Gold Island, for example, even the normal Wubbox is extremely difficult. You need to place a Wubbox and fill its inventory with all the natural monsters at level 15. That alone is already tough, but if we talk about the rare version, it gets even worse, since you'll need all the rares at level 15 and you lose them all in the process. Then comes the epic Wubbox on Gold Island, which is without a doubt the hardest. You'll need to sacrifice multiple epic monsters at level 15 for each stage. Still, for me, there's one even harder. The epic Wubbox on Ethereal Island. That one requires every single epic ethereal on the island. And let me tell you, getting epics on Ethereal Island is no easy task. Filling its inventory with them makes this one of the hardest monsters in the entire game. But honestly, the real verdict, the hardest Wubboxes of all are on Wublin Island. Imagine having to activate all the wublins and then use them to power the Wubbox. That's insane. And the rare Wubbox is even worse. You basically have to activate 10 wublins, evolve them into rares, and then use them. That takes forever and is definitely the hardest of all Wubboxes right now. And looking into the future, once we eventually get an epic version on that island, my condolences to every My Singing Monsters player out there. And since I mentioned Wublin Island, of course I won't forget about the epic wublins. These are some of the hardest monsters to get in the entire game. They have the most complex path of any monster. You first have to activate the normal wublin, then evolve it into rare using rare monsters, and then into epic using epics. Depending on which one you're working on, the grind can be insane. So yeah, epic wublins are definitely among the hardest. Another recent addition to the game that's already driving players crazy with its difficulty is the Primordial class. Getting these monsters on the islets is a nightmare. To get a Primordial with the dish harmonizer, you need every monster on the island plus a quad in the structure just for a tiny chance of success. And when I say tiny, I mean it. Some people have spent weeks trying without success. So yeah, getting Primordials is currently one of the toughest challenges in the game. Now, here's something that only a few players will ever experience: showing up in the weekly rankings. Yup, getting into the rankings is no easy feat, unless you're a big YouTuber like MPG. For everyone else, it'll take years of waiting for the right moment when enough people like your island at the start of the week. Once you're in, you'll probably stay there for the whole week since people keep liking ranked islands. But getting in the first place is pure luck. If you have tons of friends in the game, maybe it's possible, but even then, you'll need a lot of luck. Another super tough challenge is upgrading all the crystalline castles to the max level. Getting every castle to max is hard enough, but upgrading them to crystalline form is even harder, especially the later levels starting from Air Island through the magical islands. The diamond cost is massive, over 500 diamonds on some islands, so you'll need a ton of patience to save them up, and realistically, you'll need to wait for a 50% off sale because upgrading without a discount is just crazy. So for me, maxing out these castles is one of the hardest things in the game. And I can't leave this one out. It's one of the hardest monsters to get right now. BeMeBeth. Yep, this quint on Ethereal Workshop is a huge challenge. You'll need to make tons of other monsters first, and when it's finally time to try for BeMeBeth, you'll need a lot of luck because it's not easy to get at all. You'll have to keep trying over and over, and if you fail, you'll be stuck waiting a long time before your next attempt. So yeah, this quint is one of the hardest monsters to get right now. So yeah, guys, I think those are the hardest things to do in the game. Let me know your opinions down in the comments, and let's see what you think are the toughest challenges in My Singing Monsters. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time,